Hi everyone, and thanks very much to Global PropTech for inviting me to do this webinar with you. I'm talking today about how to use technology to add value to your shopping centre. The presentation takes you through the hows and whys of technology, from creating a PropTech strategy for your business through to what type of PropTech you should be looking at considering. I'm reasonably new to the whole webinar thing, so if I'm looking back and forwards, I apologize in advance. And if some of the slides don't go quite according to plan, I apologize in advance as well. Anyway, let's kick off. So just a quick background on why I'm here. Mallcomm is the product that we have developed, Toolbox Group has developed. It's a multi-award-winning 360-degree integrator for managing and engaging all real estate communities, tenants, occupiers, suppliers, shoppers, and all other stakeholders involved in retail real estate. It transforms the user's experience of the space. It creates loyalty by connecting people to places, whilst delivering efficient operations, significant budget savings, and valuable insights. We're currently operational in more than 300 properties across the UK, USA, EMEA, Northern Europe, as well as in Asia. We've got more than 250,000 users, and we have engagement rates of about 95%. So enough about me, and let's go on to why we're here today. And a good place to start is always looking at, so what is PropTech? Lots of different names for it. It's CRE tech, it's ReTech, it's Proptology, but actually trying to find one definition, and the definition is always a difficult thing to clarify because it means different things to different people. But I think the best ones are the ones I've got on the screen here, which is it's the use of information technology to help individuals and companies research, buy, sell, and manage real estate. It uses, so PropTech uses digital innovation to address the needs of the property industry. And that really is, the bottom line there is what I feel PropTech is all about. So a lot of people think that PropTech is all about disruption, but I like to think about it more as transformation. It's where we integrate some cutting edge technology with big data and also predictive skills that align exactly with what professionals are actually wanting to do in a much more intuitive and insightful and easy way to use it. With transformation, no one needs to master a whole new set of skills for accomplishing their key goals. Tech will let them do their jobs better. And that's why transformation is much more important than disruption. However, in the real estate industry, we know that we're quite far behind in terms of the adoption of PropTech. And as James from Unisu quite clearly states here, is that we've broken through the crust, but we're nowhere near the mantle. And there are a couple of reasons for that. And one is, I believe, the cultural gap that exists between real estate, an industry that's basically reluctant to let go of its traditional practices, and the innovative, which are the fast-moving, agile, let's break things, let's get going culture favored by experts in digital technology. The dinosaur aspects of the real estate industry are presenting considerable barriers to progress in this area. A skill gap also exists in real estate companies where they need to be educated on the benefits of technology. It's not a case of, well, if it isn't broken, let's not fix it. It's a case of, if you fix it now, you make some slight changes to it, it's going to deliver value for you going forward. So real estate companies, and this has started to change with the introduction of innovation directors and innovation departments within property companies. So they're starting to realize there needs to be a change. This is a great comment by Charles Darwin. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but it's those that are adaptable to change. This is a great slide, again from Jane Stursley of Unisu, which shows the plethora of PropTech out there. And this is just the UK market map at the moment. So you can see why it's very, very confusing for anyone looking at the PropTech industry to decide, one, how to start, where to start, what they should be looking for. So I'm going to help you and take you through some of those steps in order to create your digital or PropTech strategy. So every company needs a PropTech strategy, and they need to understand what they're going to achieve. They can't just go out there and buy random bits of tech that may be cool or may be sexy, or I know someone down the road who makes this, and let's get that into the company. Those days have gone, really. It's much more that you have to look at what you want to achieve, how you're going to achieve it, what PropTech, pieces of PropTech you need to do. And some of those will be tried and tested bits of PropTech. Some of them will be new bits. It needs to be a mixture of both. And your system needs to be stable, but more importantly, it needs to be scalable across your entire organization. And those companies that integrate your current systems into it. So it's not a case of when you have a new PropTech strategy, everything needs to be new. You need to have PropTech products that allow some of your old legacy systems to be integrated and used and brought through into that digital age. So as we can see from this slide, 71%, sorry about that, 71% of companies are looking to digitalize their products, but they haven't actually got there yet. However, since COVID-19, and since we've all been talking about going back to work and reopening, there's been a significant change in the way that real estate companies are viewing technology and viewing how technology can help drive their business forward, help to manage their business remotely, help to improve their communication, but also look forward to times of repurposing and times of reinvention of retail real estate as we know it today, and the important role that technology will play in that. So 89% of real estate businesses know that they need to engage with PropTech. However, a third actually have a PropTech strategy in place. And 61% of property companies believe that PropTech will positively deliver an increase in revenue for them going forward. And this revenue needs to be delivered as quickly as possible. The return needs to be returned as quickly as possible, but also alongside that, you need to plan for the long term. So you're looking for immediate return, but also long term. So what are the 5 next big things that we're talking about in terms of PropTech? Well, you've got chatbots, you've got tenant portals, predictive maintenance. So all of this relates to the likes of AR, the introduction of 5G, how that's going to change the way IoT is used in retail real estate, how it will help in predictive maintenance, how many centers and properties are using chatbots and robotics. There's examples of many of those in Asia where chatbots are being used for customer service and various initiatives like that. So again, it's overcoming the fear factor and looking at really what can help you drive your business forward. So in terms of drivers, what are those? Operational efficiency, cost savings, and sustainability. Again, this leads to having a robot and doing your customer service, understanding more about the customer. All that information can be fed back into data and insights, using AI, using predictive maintenance. Those are the things that will drive operational efficiency. Use tenant apps in order to drive operational efficiency, allow you to communicate with your tenants or your occupiers remotely, also help manage your property remotely. Occupier engagement will lead to much greater customer experience, and that will be a driver for all places and spaces going forward. So your PropTech solution needs to work for you in your new business strategy, in the new reopening of our real estate and our retail real estate going forward. How are we going to not rush out and just get the latest tech that's going to help us over the next 6 months or so, but how is that going to grow into a proper tech ecosystem? So what are the barriers? The barriers are high costs, it's perceived high costs really, and I think this goes back to the development of the strategy in the ecosystem, is that all costs are perceived to be high, especially in the marketplace as we know it today. But if you have a clear objectives and you have clear ROI, then those costs aren't really high, and you need to evaluate them in terms of those objectives and in terms of your short, medium and long-term objectives as well. Rate of That's a really interesting one, because I think there's a great fear amongst people who are putting PropTech into their properties, in that things are changing so quickly that before I actually get the PropTech in, things have already changed already. So I might be putting slightly older PropTech into my property. That's not necessarily true. No implementation should take absolutely ages anyway. Most companies now are very agile, and you're looking at getting introduction in a couple of months. Implementation, always a risk, and this is, for me, this is really where the humans come in. It's important that PropTech can only work if you get the buy-in of the people that are using it and that are promoting it, and that will help them do their jobs better and deliver them much more information than they had before. So buy-in is really is really important. Also, deployment and how we're going to deliver this. Do we need more people in our business to do it, or can we manage with what they are? What can our partner deliver in terms of deploying this? But also not being afraid to fail. Sometimes things just don't work, and they work for, or don't work for, a lot of different reasons. A lot of our retail properties are going through a massive implementation of pilots, and sometimes pilot fatigue can occur, and property management teams just think, oh, we can't manage anymore, you know, nothing works, we're trying everything, nothing works, or we're trying everything and it works, and that's great, but how am I going to implement it and scale it? So I think there are lots of questions about those barriers, but ultimately a lot to do with those barriers is all to do with understanding what your strategy is and how you're going to deliver that strategy. Minus 90%, what a frightful figure when we see that that's how the state of footfall is globally now within our shopping centres. So how are we going to get people back to our places? We need to have customer-focused technology to deliver information and to deliver insights. More than ever, we need to be able to talk to our customers on a one-to-one basis, tell them when the centre's reopening, tell them how to come and shop, when they can shop, what stores are opening, what's the information on social distancing. All of that type of information needs to be delivered on a one-to-one basis. They can book their shopping space or shopping time. All of those things are really important. And we know that retail spaces will now be repurposed going forward. But just one really important stat that I came across while doing some research for this webinar is that retail has a value in the States of more than $160 billion per year, of which revenue in stores, in bricks and mortar, is still at 138 billion. So purchasing in bricks and mortar is still important. The type of experience we want when you go into bricks and mortar is going to completely change. And that is what is really important going forward. And the question that you need to ask when you're building your stack is, how important is PropTech in making that repurpose happen efficiently and effectively? 25 to 40%. This is what most property companies gained in terms of their rental and service charge income on the last quarter date. So going back to the barriers, cost is a significant barrier, but cost now and ROI now versus continuing to build your PropTech stack, change it, enhance it to make your properties, excuse me, better going forward and efficient going forward is really important. So it's a gradual start of how to build that ecosystem that's going to enable your properties to go forward. So what do you as managers of shopping centres need to be thinking about in terms of your technology stack? Here are some of the technologies that you can see going forward. So on the right-hand side, you've got the biggest impact that the technologies will have. Sorry, on the left-hand side, the biggest impact that technologies will have on the industry in the short term. And you can see that automation is quite significant there at 30%. And autonomous driving and blockchain and all of those are in there. And then you can see what are the technologies that companies are most likely to take on board. And I think AI is probably the most interesting one here, where actually it's going to impact the most in terms of industry in the short term, but its adoption and utilized in the short term is 6%. So there's a huge difference between the impact it will have, and those actually adopting it and utilizing it going forward. It's really interesting because a lot of, I can hear a lot of you saying, yeah, but, tech, it doesn't really do anything, and are we really going to use it? But here's an idea, an example, really, of Link REIT, which is a REIT in Asia, where they've created tech malls and where everything is technology-based. And they have robots delivering customer service. They have AR and customer experience. They have personalized communication. So everything that they do within their mall is all about delivering that experience in a technological way to create that personal relationship, to get the data they need in order to manage their properties better. So how do you build your tech stack to get the maximum value? There's new tech coming out all the time, as I've said, and that can really add sprawl to your ecosystem. So you have to be able to make sure that everything comes together and connects together, connecting all of the technologies that retail locations can use in one ultimate goal. It can help you inform tenants. It can help you help with their promotions. They can be both online and in store, but it can also help with the operation of the location in a more effective and efficient way. So I've got a whole lot of questions here. So what problems do you want to solve, and what opportunities do you want to take? Those are the questions you have to start asking yourself in terms of how you start building that tech stack. So you can see on the screen here is these are the areas as seen as being most disruptive by technological innovation in the short term. Real-time asset performance data. People want to know how their assets are performing, 29%. Customer data, 24%. Really important in terms of understanding how to manage your properties better with insights and data. So what's in it for me? What are the stakeholders going to get? What are the occupiers going to get? What are the owners going to get? That's really important as well. How can I solve my pain points? And companies want to introduce solutions that will digitalize their workflows, elevate transparency for every stakeholder in the ecosystem so that they can make better decisions at a fraction of the cost. You want to own your own data about your customer. You want to know what your customer is doing, when they're doing it. You want to own the same about your occupiers and their staff, be it in retail, real estate, or offices, or any other real estate. You want to be able to understand the way they use the space that you're offering them, because the way that they use the space now and going forward is completely different to how they used it in the past. So you can see on this on this graph from KPMG that these are the technological innovation improvements that will have the biggest impact on the real estate sector. So improved decision making, again, improved building performance and lower budgets, 22%, improved customer engagement, 22%, improved speed of completing transactions, and improved return on investment. So the third question, how easy is it to integrate legacy systems into my systems? Do I need to go out and buy everything new? And that's a really important factor when looking at your tech stack. You don't want to go out and buy everything new. You want to have an integrator. You want to have a system that has open APIs that can help you to deliver everything, that can take some of those legacy systems and make them sort of relatively new and modern systems. We don't have the budgets and we don't have the money in order to buy a complete new PropTech stack. So the fourth question, how much data and insight will we get? I think as retail is becoming much more competitive and a lot more data driven, I can see the relationship between and the collaboration between occupiers and landlords improving so that they will start to share much more data. And again, PropTech can help you in delivering that. So intelligent real estate strategy will include smart buildings, how you can share that data in how your business operates and how your buildings operates. How can you reduce your occupation costs? How can you reduce your management and resourcing costs in order to cope and manage with the new real estate and retail real estate going forward? So data is the new oil. I'm sure you've heard that more than once before, but it's really important that when we're thinking of our PropTech platform or our ecosystem, that we're looking at mass integration. As I mentioned earlier, we're looking at how can we talk to our shoppers? How does that affect our tenants and our occupiers? How, with the understanding of our catchment through Wi-Fi data, how does that build through into our tenants and our workflows and everything? And I think it's really important that when developing a system, you look at all of these things. Steve Jobs really puts it very well in terms of customer experience is where you start and technology is what follows. But don't do it the other way around, because you'll never get the customer experience that you require. So big question I often get asked is, do you buy or do you build in-house? And I'm obviously in the favor of buying, because building in-house it's not the core, it's not your core business. It's not where you are strong. And often you'll find with PropTech strategies and also PropTech solutions that are built in-house, they just won't deliver what you need them to deliver, and also they have to be maintained. It's not your core business, and normally by the time they launch, they're almost immediately out of date by the time they've launched. So looking at the graphs here, again supplied by KPMG, is that building your own tech stack is still quite high. And that I also think comes down to skills. It comes down to the fear factor and the culture. Is if we build something ourselves, then we know what it is and it'll be safe. Whereas, you know, you're not as agile, and you need to really get in line and understand what PropTech companies can deliver for you, and have the ability to invest both financially but also psychologically into these businesses who will work with you to develop your system all the way through, from the time that they start working with you as your business grows. So how do we value PropTech? So PropTech can be valued through various different things, and I've mentioned it before. Data and insight, that's the biggest value that's going to give you for your property and for your stakeholders immediately. You're going to understand better how your property runs, be that using sensors and smart buildings right the way through to speaking to your tenants, speaking to your customers, understanding predictive maintenance. Every element of the way that you run your business can be run more effectively and efficiently using PropTech. Efficiency and savings, as I mentioned, it's vital in today's world, and again, is really important when setting out your objectives, is what efficiencies and cost savings can PropTech deliver for me? Maybe add a few, maybe be a little bit more expensive to start off with, but ultimately over the period of time will deliver efficiency and cost savings for you. And in terms of occupying customer experience, vitally important for any business going forward. Just a few comments from PropTech, the retail environment, Beechcroft, is there's an ample room for PropTech to shape a better future. An improved customer engagement is where you see a difference that will be made in the future. So James Dursley, who's been mentioned quite a few times through this, has PropTech has long been thought of as weeds in a well-maintained garden, when in actual fact, it's the food to nourish and accelerate growth. Thank you very much, and I hope you found it interesting.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. So I wanted to, there were some questions that came through, and it's thank you for the presentation. There's a request for connection, which I will make with you offline for there.
Thank you.
Now, one question that I did have in listening to your presentation is, looking at a retail establishment, there's so much that they have to consider when thinking about investing in a PropTech solution. Where should they be looking to start? You have the operations of the building, you have the tenants, you have the customers of the tenants. Like, and then all the data that's associated with that, where should they be looking for kind of that initial investment in there to build on down the road?
I think they've got to work out what it is they're trying to achieve. You know, it really goes back to that PropTech strategy. And if they're wanting if data is their most important end result, their return on investment is data, then, and what is that data? Is that data tenant turnover? Is that data customers, the way customers shop? If that is the case, then you might be looking at a tenant portal, or you might be looking at something linked to a customer. If it's a case of I want to, enhance my efficiencies and effectiveness in the way that I run my shopping center, then you may be looking at tenant portals. You may be looking at the likes of Yardi or Coyote or any of those systems. If you're looking at how do I maximize on my resources, again, you've got you've got so many different opportunities to go for. It is really bringing that down. And also it's using people like yourselves, people like, Global PropTech, people like Unisu, just different people in the industry who can help guide you as well, because they've got the experience and understanding of who's around and who can add value to what you're doing.